All right, we're sharing the screen again. Ooh, ah. Anyways, I mentioned again, I think last week or so, that I was going to talk about Russell Brand's baptism. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for playing this video. I actually haven't watched it. I'm going to click on this one video here, this first one of him explaining his baptism. Because honestly, I think it's a rouge, another fake out. As I mentioned before, in the last topic, I said I was going to admit to being wrong, or I believe I'm wrong in this situation. A while ago, or the last time, it wasn't even like a while ago, it was a couple months ago or so. But the last time I spoke about Russell Brand, it was the sexual assault rumors, and I came to his aid. I said that I think these rumors are bogus simply because of who Russell Brand is now. He is the quote unquote conspiracy guy. He is against the mainstream media. He's been talking about he's been pretty much, against all of that, right? And we know that within the mainstream, um, the powers of be like to shut people down, um, and by any means necessary. With that being said, if they can spread false accusations and get someone to try to cloud someone's name, especially around a time where he was gaining popularity at the time, or he had some popularity, and I mean he still got popularity, but he was garnishing some more garnishing, whatever the case is, garnering some more popularity. They were trying to shut him down essentially. And I saw that and I'm like, this ain't like there's something fishy about this. Like they're going after him to try to shut him down. Well, I did say, even in that, I said, if I am wrong, if news came out saying, proving that the man was guilty, then I will, I will come out and say that I'm wrong. I haven't gotten news. I still haven't seen it. I've seen anything proving that this man is actually guilty of what he was accused of. What's making me second guess though is this new Christianity. Now, as a Christian myself, I am not someone that's going to I'm not going to tell anyone not to get into Christianity. I'm not even going to say that I wasn't necessarily well, I never been baptized, so I guess I never been a born again Christian. Um, I will say I've regained my connection. I'll just put it that way. And if that's still the wrong terminology, I don't give a fuck. Because I'm a Christian cuss, anyways. But like, I would say I regained my connection with God when I first joined the church. Now, y'all know, or you should know, I left the church, but I didn't leave my connection with God, as I stated before. Yeah, even I told the folks at the church, leaving the church is not the same as leaving God. And I said it on here multiple times. I give up on God, quote unquote, God's people, but I will never give up on God. I'll give up on his children, but I will never give up on God. And me giving up on his people, his children, that's in conversation he and I will have. All right. I said my piece to those folks, and I said my piece to anybody about the situation who wanted to know, even to y'all, who none of y'all reached out and wanted to know, but I even said it there. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. But why I think it's a crock. Before I play this video, though, I'm gonna explain my change of my change of mind. Right? I think that the man is lying. Well, I won't. I think something probably came out. Right? Maybe he was actually or is actually guilty of the situations that he was being accused of. Right? And he may have settled something, a little bit of hush money, gave the victim hush money, so now the victim is not coming out. And now, or he's trying to get ahead of it in the sense of, hey, look, my past was my past. I'm a reborn Christian, and that was the old me. He's going to do some stuff like that. It wouldn't surprise me if Diddy, honestly, is cooking up some stuff right now. He's been quiet since his botched apology, right? And I already broke that down. If you want to know my thoughts on it, if you're listening to if you're listening to the audio version, just listen to the episode a few weeks ago I did. And if you're watching on YouTube, just go on the channel once again, and you'll see that video as well, my response to all of that. But I think he's doing this. There's two reasons. The second reason, I didn't think of it actually till today, to be honest with you, when I was doing research on this very, very topic. But the first point that I'm making now is, once I first got word of this baptism, I was like, oh, he actually did what, and I hate that my heart is going at, well, my mind, not my heart. I hate that my mind is going there, but something is telling me that, I gotta say it. Something is telling me that, oh, he's actually guilty. And I was defending this man. And now he's doing the, hey, I'm reformed. That was old me, not new me. So you can't talk about old me anymore, because look at new me. Let's focus on the present, which is something a lot of Christians do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Christians do that. They'll get baptized. They'll join churches. Oh, that was the old me. Not like they'll do dirt on somebody, and then that somebody confronts them and says, yo, you did me dirty. And then they're like, oh, that's the old me. I've been born again. You still have to justify your wrongs, my nigga. Like, don't try to run to Christianity and try to escape and try to nah, you did someone dirty. You have to judge. That's part of being a Christian. You think part of being a Christian is just showing crosses, wearing crosses, and bringing up how God is great in your life. No, you got to repent. You know what I'm saying? You got to repent for it. So if you did dirt and someone says, hey, you did me dirty, you have to own up to it. There's no running away from it. There's no, no, I'm a Christian. That was the old me. That was me when I was, an atheist, or that was me when I was a Satanist. That was me when I was a non-believer, when I wasn't, but the me now, nope. It don't work like that. Play boy, play girl, play person. It don't work like that. So that's reason number one. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong about reason number two as well. But reason number two is, apparently he and a bunch of other folks are going for the, and I'm gonna use the term again, I don't give a damn, evangelical, but nah, they're going for the very staunch Christian group. The Christian folks who are easily swayed by anyone who says that they're a Christian. The Christian folks who can't read between lines. The Christian folks that all you got to say is Jesus Christ, and they down on their knees worshiping you, as if you said you are Jesus Christ, as if you are Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, but not as if you are Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, like apparently he's going for that base as well, and going for, apparently it's a grift, right? Now, again, these aren't my thoughts, but I can see why someone would think that. In fact, when I played this video, again, I'm only playing this top one, this 14-minute one from Rebrand himself, not from Good Gospel Channel. I don't know who Bear Grylls is. You know what I'm saying? Not from Sky News Australia. All right, mate. No. Goodbye, mate. We're from Russell Brand's channel himself. So we gonna hear from himself why he got baptized, as you see from the title.
It's not just me that's experiencing a spiritual awakening across the world. There appears to be a return to religion. Now, I've made my personal opinion clear, and I will elucidate, illuminate, espouse, expound, proselytize on that further in a moment. But I will say that there are a lot of people that are joining other faiths as well. And I personally do not feel that I can do anything other than speak for myself. And obviously, if you were asking me for my personal recommendation, I could only use my personal experience. as the basis for a personal recommendation. But across the world, this seems to me like a time where a set of values not derived from the materialist culture are becoming increasingly relevant. When you look at that ghoulish gala that was the White House press correspondents' dinner, it's pretty obvious that we are a rudderless society, damned and doomed. Obviously, I've been through a lot of things personally. I know you've been through a lot of things personally too. But for me, I've reached a point where the figure, the personage, the presence of Christ became
He's not white.
overwhelming, unavoidable, welcome, necessary. Like, suffering is not fun, is it? You know what it is to suffer, right? You know what it is to lose people. You know what it is to be attacked. You know what it is to be persecuted. You know what it is to sometimes feel the actual presence of evil in your life. Where do you turn to? Where do you turn to in those moments? Well, a lot of people across the world are turning to religion. Were you struck by the stories about Bishop Marmari Emmanuel? He's returned to work after surviving stabbing. This is from Avi Yemeni. A little post on him returning and indeed still saying that he is against censorship. There's been some reports on me getting baptized. Now, obviously, someone like me who's for a long time was associated with, I don't know, a decadent, hedonistic Hollywood lifestyle, maybe a move like this. I mean, you tell me what you think about it. A lot of people maybe are surprised by it, think it is surprising. A lot of people, like David Icke, has said that, that he has some problem with me turning. Have a look. Candace Owens converts to Roman Catholicism, as has Ava Vladingerbrook and Jordan Peterson's wife, Tammy.
Let me stop I paused it for the video watchers out there because my camera is kind of in the way. He's got a screenshot of David Icke's tweet. So my camera was kind of in the way, so they can read along as he's reading the tweet yourself. But I'm gonna play again. I'm gonna play this entire video. It's a 14-minute and 36-second video, so I'm gonna try not to pause as much unless I hear something crazy or if they say Jesus is white.
Me, Peterson, who I know and who's a lovely woman, while Russell Brand does the rosary. Indeed, I do. What the F is happening to the mainstream alternative media? Now, like, me, I've known about David Icke and known David Icke a long time, and I admire David Icke, and I can't wait to have another conversation with him specifically about this because David Icke has contributed some important ideas and themes to the conversation of, well, whether you call it awakening or anti-establishment, whatever you call it, he's really participated, and he's the OG, is he? Maybe some of you might say, oh, well, what about Alan Watts or Terence McKenna or the Beats? David Icke, when it comes to certainly some of the more, what was once regarded as
Get to the point, my guy.
The realm of the conspiracy, David Icke has done some extraordinary stuff. They talk about freedom of speech and convert to the church with a long, long history of mass murder for the crime of having a different opinion. Extraordinary. Something's going on and it's not good. Now, of course, many people are aware of, how can you not be aware of the history of the church? Hurl all the abuse you like, it doesn't matter to me. It needs saying when blatant cognitive dissonance is so rampant. So this is something that I feel like we have an opportunity to address. Why is it that people are turning to faith? Let's have a look. A greater share of young adults say they believe in a higher power or God. About 1/3 of 18 to 25-year-olds say they believe more than doubt the existence of a higher power, up from about 1/4 in 2021, according to a recent survey of young adults. It's always been assumed that Christianity in particular was in decline. And of course, the arguments about the Crusades, the corruption, the Catholic Church, pedophilia scandals, these are all things that people understand. The potential compliance and advocacy of the papacy in the Second World War. There are endless scandals around the institutions that have grown out of Christianity. And having been Christian for 24 hours now, I can unravel and resolve all of those complex questions for you. Obviously, I can't. I can only tell you what has personally drawn me towards the faith over the course of our.
All right, so I'm stopping it here because I do have something to say. So when he brought up that stat about the 18 to 25-year-olds or the growing number of younger people who believe in a higher power, I don't think they're talking about organized religion as you might think about it. I think he's getting it mixed up. There's and I'm not talking about they are not They're not talking about Christianity. They're not talking about Judaism. They're not talking about Buddhism. If maybe some of them are, because that's the only other religion or organized. It's not even necessarily a religion, but for this sake, we're going to call it a religious practice. That's the only other religious practice that I can see a lot of the spiritual individuals nowadays probably aligning themselves with. But they're growing into the sense of what I'm kind of on as well. There's a higher power out there that isn't necessarily tied to one religion. A lot of these folks are getting into tarot, which is, about higher powers and major arcana and all this stuff. Don't ask for a full-fledged explanation from me, at least not right now, not in this episode. But I think that is the higher power that a lot of these young folks are into. Again, I could be wrong, but it didn't necessarily specify Christianity, and I think that Russell Brand either he's misconstrued in that statement to mean Christianity or just organized religion in general, mainstream organized religion. Let me just put it that way, or he is using it to do what many Christians do and try to use specific tools to get people to agree with their religion and trying to say, hey, look at all these young people being Christians. So that should mean that you should be a Christian too, because now a lot of people, everyone's going to be a Christian. Like religion should be a trendy thing. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're doing it, your mom's doing it, or your neighbors are doing it, or people at your work are doing it. Now you gotta practice whatever that religion is because all the people around you are doing it. My thing is no. I think it'd be great if more people. I do believe that this world does need to believe, more people within the United States, outside the United States, people in the world in general. I do believe that we do, like everybody needs to know the wonders of a higher power. That is a fact. Or at least my opinion. Let me put it that way. But I don't think that everyone should, and nobody, not even everyone, I don't think anybody should be forced into or feel coerced into joining any type of religion simply because the people are around them are doing it. You have to find God. You know what I'm saying? You have to find that connection with yourself. And if or when that moment comes for you, you would know it because I'm living testament. Just like how he was saying he can only speak for himself, I can only speak for myself. I'm living testament that it wasn't a situation where everybody was around me, because everybody around me, they might claim to be Christians, but they don't go to church unless it's a funeral. You know what I'm saying? Now I don't go to church, period. but anymore. But like what I'm saying here is they weren't really practicing. They only said prayers when it was a prayer because of, that's what you say at funerals. It was only a prayer because someone got sick. It wasn't necessarily a prayer for, thanks, talking to God or just praying daily in general. They only read a Bible quote or Bible scripture because it was at a funeral. So it's like if Christianity is not about death. It's not about just departing to death and saying your goodbyes to the dearly departed, you know? So it wasn't a situation, because if it was a situation like that, I wouldn't be the Christian that I am right now. I'd be like everybody else that's around me. Only bringing up God when I'm in a damn church at someone's funeral. I'll continue playing his video.
Our little conversation now. But it's interesting to me that people en masse, in particular young people, are recognizing that the material world that I sought to find solace and comfort in is no longer serving that function for many young people. That's extraordinary, isn't it? People are waking up. People are realizing it doesn't work. It isn't going to work. When I was a kid, I was thinking, yeah, hedonism, excitement, glory, as well as being sort of scarred with a pretty painful addiction and I know an emptiness. But I've heard a lot of Christians say that that is almost a defining attribute, that we need a direct relationship with Christ. And without that relationship, we will feel hollow and empty and bereaved. Young adults, theologians, and church leaders attribute the increase in part to the need for people to believe in something beyond themselves after 3 years of loss. 84% of the world's population identifies with a religious group. That's extraordinary, isn't it? Members of this demographic are generally younger and produce more children than those who have no religious affiliation. So the world is getting more religious, not less.
Okay, so it did mention a religious group. Again, that could, if you believe in the, astrology or tarot, that could be considered a religious group. A religious group, and no one's going to like it when I say this, so I don't care. A religious group is literally just a group of individuals who believe in the same thing. So if tarot is that, guess what? It's a religious group. It might not be recognized as a religion by some other religion. Now, I know Christians who don't even recognize Islam as a religion or other religions as a religion. Before I left the church, there was I'm not going to say his name, but there was a guest speaker who was talking about, this was around Ramadan too. He was going in talking about some, they don't really worship, like they're not, what they're doing right now is they're not doing anything essentially. He was saying that, the Muslims aren't, worshiping anybody. They're not doing anything. They're just wasting their time because they should be in this church right now celebrating Jesus Christ, not some guy named Muhammad, and not, celebrating Ramadan, which is, nothing. Again, I'm paraphrasing his words, but that's what he was pretty much saying. So I know for a fact there are other people, even within mainstream religions, who look at other mainstream religions and say, that's not a real religion. My religion is the real religion.
Thank God for our commercial partners. They make our life better.
They make your life better, but not mine, and they're not getting free ad placement. So I'm gonna pause the video here. They don't sponsor me. They're not gonna get free pub. I'm already playing your video, bud. Fast forward to 7 minutes and 18 seconds. Boom. Unless he was going to give me some of that ad revenue money, which he wasn't, then I would let him play that ad. All right. But nah, I ain't apologizing.
The idea that we have to address, or certainly one of them, is the idea of hypocrisy. And indeed, the idea that religion causes wars. These are central to the arguments of atheists like Christopher Hitchens or Richard Dawkins or Daniel Dennett or Sam Harris, that religion as an ideology, with the various religions, but that they often focus on Islam, I suppose, facilitates violence and death and war. And to get caught in that paradigm is interesting because you have to, I suppose, ignore the endless current secular wars. The Middle Eastern conflicts, are they underwritten by theology or by territory and resource? The war between Ukraine and Russia, is this ideological, or is it military and economic and territorial? There are different ways to analyze the origins of these conflicts, and indeed that's what we dedicate a lot of our time to on this channel. So let's have a look at this report on the relationship between religion and war. Religion has been implicated in all sorts of conflicts.
All right, so we're 8 minutes and 18 seconds in now. I am not one to talk about rambling. You know what I'm saying? I ramble, but I always get to the point. I'm not going to make a title that says I got baptized, this is why, and then not nearly take up 10 minutes of your time and not tell you why I got baptized. If this was my video or my episode of the Earnest Thoughts podcast, I'm just saying, hopefully sometime and I know this is a YouTube thing where they will make a title and they go on and on and on. They shout out their sponsor, right? They go on and on and on. And then at the end of the video, they will, probably at the very, very end, they will probably share the answer to the actual title. That might be the case here. But I'm just saying this is a 14-minute and 36 second video. And 8 minutes in, nearly 10 minutes in, he still has yet to explain why he personally became a Christian. He's talking about everybody else. How come young people are doing it? Or how come this, that, and, studies. He's not talking about why he personally. Just all I'm saying here. Let's continue, though.
And violence throughout human history. There is blood on the hands of the faithful, and no avoiding the fact that in the service of the wrong people, religion can be a force of great harm. This includes Christianity. If we consider the sins of the Christian past, critics have plenty to work with: witch hunts, the Crusades, Christian support of slavery. But the picture is much more complex than is often implied. Take the Inquisition. Dinner party guests are likely to nod in agreement when someone mentions the millions killed at the hands of the church, but historians now suggest.
I do want to stop there and bring up the whole Christian support slavery. I mean, I already paused enough. What it is, what it is. He ain't really saying nothing about himself. He's just talking about everybody else but him. I might as well talk because I'm actually staying on topic, at least my topic. Christianity, any other religion can be used as a tool. Even like I said, if you're into tarot, right? I'm into tarot myself. But I do know people who abuse that and use it as a tool. I used to know someone, not gonna name names, who it might be still is or was a tarot reader. She used to do readings for me for free all the time. Keyword used to, because it got to a point where I knew she was purposely saying things that weren't true about what was going on and trying to manipulate me into doing things, not doing things. And I foolishly have fallen for a bunch of the crap she was feeding me. That's not all tarot readers, but what my point in bringing that up and saying, and I've been fooled by Christian leaders and other religious leaders. What my point in saying it is, it's not the actual practice, it's not the belief that's the problem. It's the people who use the belief as a tool to fool people, to enslave people. Christianity didn't enslave Black people, Africans, and all the other people of the world who were enslaved. Christianity didn't do that. People who claim to be men and women of God did that, or just men, because it was men, slave owners, or white men. But their wives who claim to be Christian women were out doing dirt as well. So this is not a absolve white women of slavery of anything. Nah, not over here. You know what I'm saying? Feminism is not going to make me forget what they were doing back then. But it's not Christianity. I just feel the need to say that. I feel like I've said that before, but that's always a point that I bring up. Because I used to have that argument too. I used to have that argument where it was against Christianity. Oh, it's the reason why slavery was a thing. No, it wasn't. Now granted, unfortunately, even generations today, you have Black folks who are mentally enslaved because of the work that religious leaders do and use Christianity as. But if you were to tell these folks, and especially the folks I was trying to tell at my church, former church at least, this about, if you were to actually actually use your God-given power and discernment, you would realize that you're not supposed to be worshiping this I was about to call my MFer. You're not supposed to be worshiping this person of God, quotation marks for the audio listeners out there. You're not supposed to be worshiping them like they're God themselves. In fact, all this stuff that we're doing right now, like I said, when I talked about paying tithes, that's one of my favorite topics that I talked about, because I think it holds. I just really loved talking about that, simply because like it really exposed a lot about the church, you know. But again, you know, I just went on that little babble just to say it's not Christianity that enslaved folks. It's the people practicing it, behind it, and abusing the word of God, the words of God, and any other religious practice out there. Like I said, I gave y'all an example of the individual who used to do readings for me, was abusing the hell out of it. And then when I called them out for it, they tried to, make it seem as though that they actually saw it in the cards. They saw it in the cards that I was going to realize their game on me. And then they tried to switch it up. But at that moment, it was already too late because I'm like, hold on. I started catching on to it. So even the cards told them as they're doing my reading, you need to stop because he's going to catch on. Y'all probably don't believe it. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? I was just giving you my personal experience. And it's not even just with Christianity, where people try to fool me into thinking a certain way or behaving a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to play this video some more, but hopefully he gets to a point eventually where he talks about himself. Hopefully I don't watch this entire video and he doesn't even explain a damn thing.
Around 5,000 to 6,000 over a 350-year period. That's hardly any deaths. That's less than 18 a year. One a year is terrible, but the reality appears a long way from what we are often served up. That's an interesting piece of analysis from the legacy media. And of course, any death conducted in the name of God, particularly if you consider God to ultimately be love and unity, particularly if you consider Christ to be God incarnate, come to earth to absolve our sins, accessible within to all of us. I've been on a journey that has been, of course, inspired and impacted by suffering. You'll be aware of the attacks that took place in the media because they were designed to attract the attention of as many people as possible, undertaken by an extraordinary alliance of media organizations.
And I think he's referencing what I was saying at the beginning of this topic, the allegations. Let's see if he goes any further than explaining what he's getting into. But to me, joining a religion because the media was saying some mean things about you is not a reason to join, unless they were saying things that was true about you, and you're doing the thing that I hope you're not doing, and you're now trying to protect yourself from being judged by saying, hey, look, I'm a Christian, I'm a new person, I'm reborn again. So that's the old me, not the new me, not the me now. So you can't talk about me anymore. You know the media don't give a damn. Born again, reborn again. It don't give a damn. They gonna talk about you. If you go against the grain, as Russell Brand does, they gonna talk about you. Whether you were a hedonist or a Christian, they gonna go against you. But I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to see what he says after this, and try to swat these little flies from out of here.
And other NGOs, and it appears to some degree or another with the participation of various agencies that I'm reluctant to name at this point. What you might not know is that at that time, my son was born with some complications and had open heart surgery when he was very young. And of course, in a time like that, if you have a loving relationship with a partner, that is where you'll find a great deal of solace. But I don't know how you feel. Sometimes the material world and human relationships, they're not enough. We report on this stuff every single day: corruption, institutional corruption, violence, unnecessary wars, the refusal of the powerful to participate in peaceful solutions, the corruption of powerful groups, the desire of powerful interests to hide malevolent intent behind beneficial measures. We're doing this to help you, they say. It's for your safety and for your convenience, and my whole life long.
Bro, I get it. Why? What has it got to do with you? My man, I get it all. I get it all. Trust me, I feel him 100% when he's talking about this. This is stuff I talk about. What does this have to do with you? Why did you get baptized? Because of these niggas? Now everybody got their reason, but I'm not. I've been talking about these cronies for years. Again, not haven't been baptized. That water you see behind me, haven't been dipped in that yet. But I can tell you right now, my reason for reconnecting with God wasn't because I know there's a bunch of corruption out there. It was personal for me. I knew that I needed to reconnect. I knew that there was something out there that constantly was getting me out of the ruts that I was getting into, that was constantly having my back, that was constantly having grace on me, that was constantly giving me life. And I'm like, that's got to be God. And I have to get in. I have to connect with him. I have to connect with him because ain't no way I'm going to continue living life and going through these hurdles and just going through this personal growth and not thank the individual and not have a connection with the individual who, even at the times where I just disregarded him, his presence, he's still there. That's my story. I'll tell a bit more of that. But again, it took me what, a minute or two to tell you why I did it. He's on minute number 1034. He's still talking about everybody else. We got more minutes left of his video, and he's still talking about everybody else. Why they need God. Not why he got baptized, but why they need God in their life. And if your whole reason is I got God because these people need God, everybody got their reasons. Everybody got their reasons, but I don't think that's a smart reason. You need God in your life, so I'm going to be the one to get baptized. And again, I'm not against anybody joining any type of religion. Christianity, tarot, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism. Again, if you want to call it a religion or not. But have your reason be for you. You know, I think it just feels more genuine when you do it for you and not necessarily because you're trying to escape sexual assault allegations. Allegedly.
I felt a calling and mistranslated it time after time as various forms of addiction, substance misuse and drinking too much, and an overwhelming urge to lose myself in concupiscence.
I'm going to rewind a little bit because I think he started talking about it then. Let me just go to here. This ugly woman's face, Victoria Nuland, whoever her, the war in Ukraine. Oh, let's get up.
The corruption of powerful groups, the desire of powerful interests to hide malevolent intent behind beneficial measures. We're doing this to help you, they say. It's for your safety and for your convenience, and my whole life long, I felt a calling and mistranslated it time after time as various forms of addiction, substance misuse and drinking too much, and an overwhelming urge to lose myself in concupiscence, continually looking for love in all the wrong places. And isn't it extraordinary, any of you that have experienced this already, to get baptized? Do you feel like, how can this ceremony have any real import? How can the gentle, or actually in my case, quite radical immersion beneath water, and in my case.
So I think I'm going to watch the entire video, but I feel like stopping here. I think he said he finally owned up to it at the 11-minute mark that around 11 minutes or so. It's 11:10 now on the time that I have it paused, but I think that the reason as to why he got baptized is because he was saying he was pretty much looking for something in all the vices that he has over the years, and he couldn't find those things. The material vices, you know, the hedonism that he himself said. Um, he was looking for something within that to give him a value or whatever, give him love. And he obviously didn't find it in all of that. So then he turned to Christ and supposedly he found it. I think that's what he's saying. If I'm wrong, please feel free to respectfully let me know. I would love it if Russell Brand were to reach out himself and tell me. But if I'm wrong, you know, respectfully let me know what is the reason. Because if it sounds anything more like I wanted to make the media look bad if they criticize me some more about the sexual assault allegations. Number one, they don't care, as I've stated before. Number two, that just screams to me that you're actually guilty of what they were accusing you of doing. And this calculated attack, although it could have been a calculated attack still, like they knew about your allegations, they knew it was true, and they sat on it for the longest up until they felt the need to all ambush you with those accusations. Yeah, that's wrong of them to do, but if the accusations are true and now you're trying to escape it by saying that was the old me, the new me is a Christian, as I stated moments ago, you still have to own up to it. You have to repent for that.
Case, a live river, make any real
He's not
difference? How
white.
can the sin?
He is not white. I'm talking about Jesus Christ, not Russell Brand. Russell Brand is very white.
Of the past be washed away? How can you be born again? How can you awaken anew? I suppose to answer that question, you have to inquire in what you consider the self to be, whether you're.
It's spiritual. That's how you can do that. That's how you can awaken anew. It's all spiritual. I think people overcomplicate that thing. I'm gonna answer that question because I feel like so I can't. It's a spiritual, you know it, like I was saying before, you know when it's time for you to, whether it's God, whether it's some other, whether it could be Muhammad, whether whoever, whether it's even tarot, the major arcana, whoever that is, the spirit universe, whoever that higher power is, or whatever that higher power is, you know when you feel it in your spirit. I think people overcomplicate things. And how can it happen? You know it when you feel it. It's a feeling. People get too caught up on the optics of how does dipping your head in water make you reborn? You just come out a wetter version of you. It's not. It's not that you're being reborn literally, like you just dipped you got dunked in water and then you come back a different person. No, it's not that. It's spiritual, you know? It's not as easy to explain, but it's not as complicated as folks make it.
You're made up just of impulses and urges and memories, or whether or not you believe there is a ghost in the machine, or more likely a Holy Spirit, if you're willing to invite it into your life. For me, I've reached a point in my life where for a long while, in fact, I've known that the material world was not enough. And more than that, as many of you are surely already mouthing, it's not even about you. This I've learned as an addict in recovery. The pursuit of my own goals and my own agenda always leaves me cold and always leaves me empty and always leaves me wanting more. You can never have enough of what you don't really want. For me, this is a new discovery. It is a surrender.
Now he's getting into it. Now he's getting into the why. Like I said, I knew he was going to do that YouTube thing where they wait till the end of the video. It's 12 minutes and 14 seconds. He could have said this the first 2 minutes, but he made us watch the entire thing. It's a YouTube thing. It is what it is. That's all I'm going to say. But he's finally now getting into the meat and potatoes as to why he got baptized.
Undertaken in gratitude and in sincerity. And I know that it's not something I'll be able to undertake perfectly, but for the first time in my life, I fully understand that I'm not at the center of my universe. And I say that as a parent. I've got 3 really, really beautiful kids I'm devoted to and dedicated to. But now I know that my function here is to be of service and to be guided and to no longer be in autonomous or authoritative control of the measures and pursuits that are put before me. And that aligns so beautifully with what we do here on this show and on this channel. This is an opportunity for us to look at corruption in institutions, look at hypocrisy in media, look at a planet that seems to be in pretty serious trouble, and see how individually and collectively we can participate in an awakening. So for me, I've done what I believe is unavoidable, inevitable, and necessary for me, for all of the exotic exploration, for all of the various drugs and substances, for all of the esoteric practices. I found it in that humble place that was at the end of my arm, at the end of my street, sat at bus stops, sat in churches, droned on about in school assemblies, in Christianity, and in particular in the figure of Christ. And I'm done proselytizing. Your journey will be your journey, but I'll be praying for you as many have been praying for me. And I appreciate all of your prayers, and I've felt your prayers, and I've been carried by your prayers, and I will do my best to honor your prayers. This is a conversation we can go on having because, hey, we're reading Mere Christianity as part of our book club. And if you become an awakened wonder,
I'm gonna stop because great, you got a book club you're reading, but you ain't reading my book. So hey, you're not promoting anybody else's project on my podcast, but I'm gonna stop there because he's pretty much at the end of the video. But we finally get into, like I said, the meat and potatoes of why he got baptized. He, again, as I stated before, it wasn't just that, or I don't even think that's the bulk of it. I think the bulk of it is what he was pretty much saying. He realized that he needed to stop being selfish. He needed to stop being self-centered. And this life wasn't about him particularly. He's about servicing him, not just servicing his children, but servicing the people. And he views his YouTube channel as that. I ain't gonna lie. I view what I do here as that as well. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not saying that I'm the I'm a preacher, this, that, and the third. Although people say that I should be a preacher, I'm not. That's not me being facetious or being joking around. There have been a lot of people, especially church folk, who say I should be that. I choose not to be that because, or pastor, whatever the title is, right? Pastor. I chose not to be that because I don't think that's where, if that's where God brings me, that's where he brings me. I ain't cutting my hair though. That's number one. Number two, I ain't gonna stop looking at fat asses. I'm sorry. Anyways, ooh, nah, but seriously, I will give him the benefit of the doubt here again. I'm just going to, I was saying all the stuff I was saying, but I will give him the benefit of the doubt from one Christian man to another. I will give him the benefit of the doubt that this man just finally got to a point where now there's still a small part of me as I'm speaking right now that's like, no, he's only doing this um simply because he is trying to escape those allegations. It's a small part of me that believes that, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of the mind wrestling that I do with myself. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and that he is not doing this. He's not doing this out of malicious intent. But as I've stated before, if I've seen anything that points to the opposite being the truth, being that he is just being a Christian grifter, he is just trying to escape his old life, in the sense that he's trying to deny being that individual and all that. If I see evidence that points to that, and it's very strong evidence that says, yeah, it's real suspicious, and again, if I get that feeling, I'm going to call it out, as I've done here, as I do all the time. But, y'all watch that video with me, or you listen to the video with me. Hopefully you have. Hopefully, if you didn't, I don't know if this is going to get taken down or not, but I would love to know your thoughts. We got one more topic, so stay tuned.